We're doing another fantasy football mock draft. It's August, so of course we're doing them. We're doing them every weeknight when there's not a preseason game on this month. So, going to get into one. We have a special guest tonight. Before we intro him, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, I'm wearing something from the merch store. It is August is Gluttony Month, and this is a special shirt because the fat guy in this shirt. Whenever my daughter sees him, my daughter just turned 2 yesterday, by the way. She goes, Dada, Dada. So she thinks it's me, and actually, it's a good thing because I said draw a fat fantasy football website owner eating food for Gluttony Month. So I guess mission accomplished. So you can get that shirt as well as everything else in the merch store. We currently have a 20% off sale. So everything here is 20% off. You can change the colors of the shirt. You can change it to long sleeve. You can change it to hoodie, even infant onesie. All these options here. You can go to Amazon and buy my books. The most recent one is Jerks of the College Years, where I made fun of people I met at Penn State. I was there for 6 years, so I had a blast writing it. I think you guys will have a blast reading it. Please consider super chats, super stickers. That's the best way to support the show, really. Like I say that all the time, and it's true because YouTube pays us nothing. It is quite sad, and anytime you guys super chat us, it's like at least quadruple. Like we had 99-cent super chat the other day. Like it exceeded what we would normally get for not every episode, but some episodes. But Armac helped us a lot. He gave us a $40 super chat the other day. It was so awesome. Thank you so much, Armac. Slew and John Sanders also have helped in the past too, and also a few others like the Degeneron can make an eagle, the boss, etc. So, all right, we are joined tonight by the great Charlie Campbell, senior NFL draft analyst at WalterFootball.com, and the most accurate mock drafter in the world. Charlie, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for this. I've been practicing and getting ready and hoping that get a good fantasy team this year. Excited for our league and had to get some good vibes going by busting out the retro old school Redskins hat here. So uh,
Oh,
for
oh,
everyone who doesn't know. Walt, like myself, I'm not a fan of any specific team, but I do like the old retro gear, so I gotta rep it from time to time.
yeah, we've never changed from Redskins to the. I don't even want to say that name. I think it's very offensive to me. So I don't want to say that name. And it's sounding like I think we're going to get back to it. There's a big momentum to push to go back to Redskins. And when like what is it, 85 or 90% of Native Americans want the name back. Like you would think they'd bring it back, but I don't know. Some uptight people on Twitter who are mostly white might be upset about it, but looks like we have one room or one spot left. That's the 9 spot. So yeah, we're gonna begin as soon as that one fills. Charlie, I had to ask you, I guess before we begin. So the last time we had you on, I believe it was like right before I went to Vegas. I think so, about a month ago. You said that you would wait on Ashton Genty, and you gave like reasons behind it, like via sources. Have you changed your opinion on Genty, like based on what you've heard or what you've seen? Because that's the topic of conversation. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I just in prep for a show tonight, I reached out to a few people there with the Raiders, and one of them, a top person there, said, it was kind of wishy-washy on the role and whether he'd be a true three-down starter out of the gate. And then the other one said he thought he would be the three-down starter,
Okay.
right away. So I think I think that he's gonna definitely be featured, but I do think they're still gonna mix in veterans and other guys as well. So, I wouldn't expect him to have workload and playing time like you might see for, say, like a Saquon Barkley, for example, or Derrick Henry, someone like that. And the other thing, with the Raiders, they might be, not in a position where they're gonna run the ball as much in the second half of games as well. So that you keep that part in mind. But yeah, I definitely think he's worth taking, but in fantasy, and second, third round potential possibly, but I wouldn't take him in the first. But I also have a bias against rookies in general.
Okay, that makes sense. I have to address this. Armac with $100 super chat. Thank you so much, Armac. That is incredible. Thank you so much. I've never seen this
Thank
color
you,
before.
man. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
yeah. I think we had one super chat like this like a long time ago. But thank you so much, Armac. Like really, I really appreciate it. He says Troy Franklin, let's go. Well, okay, Charlie, I have to get your take on Troy Franklin. What do you think about Troy Franklin? Because Armac brought him up.
Well, I definitely think as a late round sleeper, he'd be worth looking at because Sean Payton likes the deep threat receivers. He likes to get vertical. You think of guys that were similar in his offense that produced well, like Lance Moore, with the Saints many years ago. And so I definitely think that he could be a late round sleeper, for them.
Yeah, I've been drafting him in the 20th round. Sometimes he actually doesn't get to me in the 20th round, like so maybe I had to take him the 19th instead. But that's kind of where he's going, and he hasn't really budged, even though he's had a really good preseason. Like Pat Bryant had, a good game last week, and then week one Marvin Mims made a catch. So I feel like he's flying under the radar, but I do like him quite a bit. Armac also saying Jordan Schultz shot the tweet about him today. He needs to shut up so I can keep taking him in the 20th round. Yeah, seriously. I mean, I didn't realize how vital it was to draft early because like I was getting like Ricky Pearsall round 7 and Emeka Egbuka round 8. I was getting Dante Thornton round 18, and like those days are long gone. Like now Pearsall goes round 5, Egbuka goes round 5 as well. Thornton goes round 13. Like I feel like the teams I draft now are not nearly as good as what they were like even 3 weeks ago. So that's something I'm going to change next year. Next year I'm going to do more drafts early and like fewer drafts late. I thought it'd be like, okay, let's get some info, but then everyone has the info. So I no, I it's yeah. These people need to stop talking about our favorite fantasy players. You're right, Armac, for sure. So, but with Armac, thank you so much once again. Just really appreciate it. Like you, Sue, John Sanders, you guys are so great. You guys really help support the show and keep us going. Just I can't say that enough. Mega, hey, what's up? And then now walk and take his kids to the Super Play Place. Yes, the $20 charge. Yeah, I could take my kids 2.5 times. So that works out. All right, so let's start the draft. We are full. This is half PPR because Charlie and I are going to be doing a draft in what 5 days?
A
And
week from today.
oh, okay, yeah. You're right. I have another draft in 5 days, so I got confused. So yeah, that league is half PPR. So I kind of want to prepare for that, but not like a huge difference between half PPR and PPR. A little bit of difference, not a crazy amount. All right, so Charlie is on the clock. I'll let you make the pick, and then you can explain the pick as it's going. Yeah. It's
Oh man, yeah, I was hoping for Bijan or Gibbs here, and they're both gone.
mhm.
And I don't trust just JJ McCarthy to take Justin Jefferson this high. So given what kind of has befallen me, I guess I'll just I'm gonna bite the bullet and I'll take Saquon Barkley. I think it's just too safe and too good a value to pass here.
So like, why the hesitation then? If if you're
Well,
gonna take
just
him.
because I like guys with young legs. So, he's got a lot of tread on the tires, and I just tend to like to draft kind of younger ascending players in the first round. Really, the first few rounds is just kind of a strategy that has worked pretty well for me. The other strategy that worked awesome for me for quite a few years was to really target the contract year guys.
Mhm.
But the last few years, like last year in our league, my team made it to the championship game. I've been there like 3 times and lost, and but yeah, it just that worked well for a while, but in the last year or two, it didn't work quite as well.
Well, I mean, if you keep getting to the championship games, it's pretty good. I feel like
Yeah, I think in part because of my waiver moves, but yeah, I hear you.
it's me and you in the semifinals every year with two other guys, and this guy Andrew, and then
Yeah.
like usually one other guy sneaks in like random. But I feel like it's like us three teams have dominated the league like since its
Hmm.
inception. How long has this league been around? What like it's been a decade, right, or so, right?
Yeah, about that, close to it. So
Yeah, yeah. It's all the Walter football employees and like close friends, I guess. So it's a fun league. There's no cash prizes or anything like that, but it's for bragging rights, which unless it's like for a ton of money, that's it's just as important. Um,
it's a very competitive league, and
yeah,
definitely, uh, I mean, you can't sleep on it on moves because other guys, everyone's plugged in, so you don't have,
yeah.
everyone's updating lineups and stuff.
Yeah, there's one guy who I think like is pretty bad in the league, but everyone else, yeah, I think all the other teams are really good. I won't say who that is, but he probably shouldn't be in the league anymore. But anyway, I think that you're right. Like that league is like super competitive. I always have trouble like filling my team on the waiver wire. I'm like, oh, there's no one left. So you're right. Everyone's plugged in there. So my pick, I took Justin Jefferson, 108. There was concern about his hamstring, but he's returned to practice. So good sign, I think. Now he could always aggravate the injury, which I'm slightly worried about that. But given that he's back in practice, I'm okay with the pick. You mentioned him as like worrying about JJ McCarthy. My thinking is that like we've seen Jefferson j- just have great numbers with Joshua Dobbs and Nick Mullins, and obviously they had other better quarterbacks with Kirk Cousins, but everyone Jefferson has played with, like he has produced. So I don't know,
Yeah.
like I don't see like why like it would suddenly stop with McCarthy unless he's like truly awful. And if that's the case, then maybe they go to someone else. Maybe they trade for Kirk Cousins. He's on the trade block, so I don't know. We'll see. But either way, I'm not worried about Jefferson. He's just way too talented to not produce. So, like if McCarthy's bad, I think the guy who gets hurt the most is probably Jordan Addison. And he has a 3 game suspension anyway. But I'm not worried about Jefferson. The only thing that bothers me is the hamstring. But like I said, he's returned to
Hmm.
practice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's gonna be bad or anything. I just think, I just don't trust generally first year starters at quarterback and fantasy,
Yeah,
but definitely, I mean, yeah, like you said, him and, other guys like DeAndre Hopkins in the Texans years with Hoyer and Osweiler, he's still producing. So great players are still going to produce.
yeah, that's definitely true. It is the secondary guys that get hurt if there's an issue. But look, I mean, Kevin O'Connell has turned water into wine with so many quarterbacks. Like he had Dobbs playing at a high level for a few games. Nick Mullins was posting great numbers with him. Cousins had the best games of his career under O'Connell. Like he's one of those offensive gurus. I really trust. I'm gonna go with Chase Brown here. Usually I don't get the players I want. This is very strange here. Like I feel like I always have to pick with like a bad player in the middle of round 2 here. Somehow, some way, he fell to me. I love Chase Brown and Bucky Irving. To the moon actually took Bucky Irving at 106. It usually doesn't go that early, but like if you love him, then it makes sense. And I have to say he was not going to come back to the moon at 207. So just given that I have Irving graded so highly, good start to the draft so far. A player who really stands out as like being all over the place as far as like rounds 1 and 2 is Christian McCaffrey. Do you have any like sense on how you feel about McCaffrey? Because I mean, you could have drafted him at 104 and you did not. I passed on him as well. What are your thoughts on McCaffrey?
Yeah, I just don't trust him to stay healthy after last season and what we saw those, few years in Carolina, and then he kind of was able to round back and everything. But I don't think, given the age, the wear and tear, the losses on the line and whatnot, I personally wouldn't trust him to stay healthy to take him high in a fantasy draft. So I haven't drafted him once this year.
Okay, you're on the clock right now. And
Yep,
I'll cut.
I'm gonna go with Drake London here. I believe I like a bunch of these receivers that are available, but I think just given the talent around them, I'm gonna go with London.
Yeah, London feels very safe. So I like him quite a bit there. With McCaffrey, it really scares me. McBride over Bowers is interesting. It scares me that he has what is he like bilateral chronic Achilles tendonitis. Um,
Right.
so like his Achilles could be inflamed at any moment. He could just be out. Like I'd be shocked if he plays like 13 games this year. Like I feel like he's good as half the season. I actually saw one of the there's so many like fantasy people on Twitter, just because it's like quote unquote content creators, even though they just post nonsense tweets. Like one of the guys was like, he's like five guys I'd bet my house on, and then one was Christian McCaffrey. I'm like, you're betting your house on an old running back with Achilles tendonitis in both feet. Like, okay, good luck.
Yeah, and a
If I
lot
was
of
yeah,
wear and tear. You know, he's had
yeah,
a lot of carries, a lot of hits in his career going back to Stanford. So I completely agree with you.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
you're up again. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jackson Smith Najigba here. I like what the fit there. And I think he's gonna be the no doubt number one receiver for Seattle, and I think that we saw that last year. Jefferson and others had a good season with Darnold at quarterback, so I like Smith Najigba.
Yeah, I like him too. I actually don't think Darnold is going to be the starter for that long. Like, I mean, maybe like half the season or something, but I think he's going to get benched at some point for Jalen Milrow. But we'll see. I'm just not a fan of him. There. Speaking of fantasy football consecrators, I actually deleted this tweet because like this guy was like super nice about it. He's like, hey, I've been reading your site for a while. Like, so I felt bad criticizing him. I like never delete tweets, so I just felt bad about it. I never feel bad either. It's kind of weird. Anyway, so he was like, he's like Sam Darnold, stock up. I'm like, did you watch the game? He threw four passes and had four total air yards. Like his passes went for like 4 yards, 1 yard, -1 yards, and like -3 yard or 0 yards. It was 4, 1, -1, and zero. Like that's how far his passes traveled in the air. And I'm like, what do you mean like stock up? I don't understand. Like which air yard of the four were you like most impressed with? It's not like he played poor. Obviously, he completed all four passes. It's not like he did anything bad. I just don't think he's that good. And like he was carried last year by Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson, Lamar Jackson off the board right now. I'm actually leaning toward quarterback right now because I don't think that Josh Allen's going to come back to me, and I think this is kind of like the right area to take Allen if the three running backs I like in round three are all gone. The three running backs being in order: Kyron Williams, Marion Hampton, and Travion Henderson. I actually want to get your thoughts on Henderson right now as I make the picks. But yeah, I'm going to take Josh Allen. What are your thoughts on Travion Henderson? Because there's a lot of buzz with him. He used to go like fifth, sixth round. He was another guy I used to draft a lot later. Like I used to get him like between like 508 and 605. Just because like he's so great on third down with like pass protecting, I thought he'd be on the field a lot. But now after those two games in which he scored two touchdowns, he's now going like between 306 and 403. So what are your thoughts on Henderson? As you obviously covered him in this draft.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd be really good and worth taking in these early mid rounds, I guess you could kind of call them. Uh, just in terms of because he's going to get a lot of receptions. I think I wouldn't be at all surprised if he ends up with 50 to plus receptions this season as a rookie because he's just so good in the passing game as a blocker and a receiver. So I think he's going to get a ton of work there, and I think Stevenson is kind of limited in that regard. So I feel like by the end of the season he'll be the starter and the feature back. I think you might have to live with some kind of platoon frustrations in the first half of the season, but I think come later in the year and playoff time in fantasy, he's going to be really valuable.
Yeah, I think late in the year, especially fantasy playoffs, he's gonna be great. Also,
Right.
The Patriots have the second easiest schedule in the NFL after the Niners, so that's another kind of feather in his cap. So glad to hear you're on board with Henderson there. Because I know you said you had an aversion to rookies. I was kind of wondering if that was applied to
Yeah,
Henderson
he's
because he
he's
plays third downs.
yeah, exactly. He's kind of uh, an exception to my rule there, but yeah, I definitely think he's gonna just be a beast as a receiver, and he's so good as a blocker that I think he's just gonna, more and more just eat up more playing time.
Yeah, I think so. Kenny said, Walt felt bad. What is this nonsense? Come on. I thought your favorite maxim is feelings are for liberals and children. That is something I've said before. I don't know, Kenny. I don't know. Maybe having kids has rubbed off of me. I don't know. But no, I don't think I've ever deleted a tweet before because I felt bad about it. But he was like, I was out of respect. It wasn't that I felt bad. All these running backs gone, by the way. I was going to take these running backs. They're all gone. It wasn't that I like necessarily felt bad about it. It was just that he was super nice about it, and so I was like, okay, you know what? I don't want him to think that like or I don't want like anyone to come after him or something because I said that. So that's kind of why I deleted that tweet. But yeah, anyway, yeah, that is something I said before for sure. What's up, peeps? How's it going? We had a question here. What is wrong with Zach Taylor leaving Burrow out there getting destroyed? Yeah, I tweeted out, I'm like, is Zach Taylor tanking for the top pick in the draft because he's like trying to get Burrow hurt? Like, I don't understand. Like, unless like Burrow told Zach Taylor, he's like, I want to get hit a few times. Like, nothing like that didn't make any sense at all. I thought that was ridiculous. I don't know, did you see that last night's game, Charlie? Like, if so, like, what were your
Yes.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just thought at that point in the game, it just made no sense for him to be out there. It just did not. I mean, they're playing with fire at that point, especially because I mean, Burrow's not. He's had injuries and so far in his career. So, I mean, he's not an old player, and he's had what like 2 seasons end on IR
Yeah.
already. So, I definitely think that, you got in some work. It should be enough at this point. You've had all training camp. You can do the joint practices too. Just to me, I don't see what you're really getting out of playing him anymore.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand it at all. The only thing that makes sense is like Burrow's like I want to get hit a few times. Like I didn't get it. Man, this is a really tough spot. I don't like any of the players here. I wish I would have waited for Burrow honestly, and taken either Hubbard or Harvey. I thought one of them was going to fall to me, and neither did. I don't like the running backs here, like at all. It's early for some of them. But yeah, it's pretty slim pickings here. But I feel like if I don't take a running back, and just like all the other ones are gonna be gone. So man, I think I'm gonna man. That's these running backs are all flawed. I think I'm gonna go James Conner. I don't like Conner at
Damn.
all. Like,
That
oh, you
was
wanted
the one
him?
I liked.
So yeah, these running backs are like flying off the board, and you have to take some of them you
Yeah,
don't like. So
exactly. Yep.
I'd like to hear why you like Connor because for me, he's 30, and he also said that there's going to be 1A, 1B with him and Trey Benson. Now, I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but that is a concern that he said it. But I feel like at least in the first half of the season, he should be good. I like the running backs I like otherwise will get back to me eventually, and but I thought if I didn't take one, they'd all be gone by 508. So why were you looking for Connor?
Well, just like similar to you, there are ones I liked more. But of these options, I think I'm not trusting Brees Hall with the Jets. I think I definitely would stay away from Kamara. Um, Joe Mixon, I could see being in a platoon with Chubb. And Connor last year was really solid for me, especially in terms of goal line. So I think that, he'll get the goal line work. So he might not be just a super monster in terms of yardage, but I think he's going to get you a decent amount of touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to do well when he's on the field. I think. I mean, well, he's 30. He could fall off a cliff, but if he doesn't, and he stays on the field, it's fine. I just worry what he said about the platoon, but we'll see. I don't know. It could just be him. I don't know, saying random stuff. I don't know. But you're up on the clock at 4:09. So what are you doing here?
Yeah, this is a tough one because, like you, I'm not a fan of these running backs,
Yeah,
uh, and I'm not a big fan of the receivers either. And I already have two of them. So, with that being the case, I'm inclined to maybe just go quarterback here and take Mahomes, and I think just kind of shore up that position. But yeah, I was hoping for some other running back options, but these guys flew off the board.
yeah. I guess lesson learned. If you're, especially if you're drafting a competitive league, I think like two running backs in the first 3 rounds is probably ideal. Now, like you don't want to just pigeonhole yourself into a strategy. Like if you get great values, then you just take them. But that's generally like how I've
Right.
approached this. Because like I feel like once you get past um once you get past like Josh Jacobs, then Kyron Williams and Omarion Hampton, and then Travion Henderson, you start having running backs like you either have to reach for or you don't like. And I mentioned Hubbard and Harvey. Those guys typically go round 5 or round 6 in best ball, but running backs go earlier in redraft because there's more variance of the receivers. But whatever. Hubbard and Harvey are like in the 4th round. But they were both gone, and so like if you don't get them, if you don't get those guys either, then you have to reach for the James Connors and Brees Hall. I don't like. It sounds like it's going to be a committee with him and Braylon Allen. But which reminds me, we had a question about Braylon Allen a little bit earlier. Just kind of, I was talking and then I kind of forgot to address it, but someone asked me if okay, Frizzle, who do you like more, Eckler or Braylon Allen? Definitely Braylon Allen. This whole Brian Robinson Jr. thing, I don't think impacts Eckler at all. Like he might get like a 5 to 10% increase in production, but it's not going to be substantial. Last year when Robinson was out, Ibuka goes, and you're out, Charlie. Finish this real fast. Last year when Robinson was out, it was McNichols getting the touches, and like Eckler's touches increased like a little bit, but not substantially. So you're up at 504. So what are you doing here?
Well, oh man, I'm not a big fan of these options, but given what I have, what's available, man, I'm gonna end up going with Sam Laporta. I think he's gonna have a monster season
Okay.
with the Lions. So uh, just filling out that starting lineup, and I think it's a safe pick to turn into a good starter.
I think we differ on our projections with the Lions this year because at least unless you
Right.
change your opinion, um, and
No,
since it's not
I'm
yet,
really
yeah,
high on them.
okay. I don't have them making the playoffs, personally. I think losing both coordinators and their center and their guard, I think is too much. And with like Jared Goff not playing with either, or not playing under Sean McVay or Ben Johnson for the first time in his career since his rookie year, I just think that just could be a catastrophe. Plus, they have the toughest schedule in the NFL. I think it's just like too many landmines. I think like this will be good. This will be a good team, but there's just so many other like better, or maybe not better, but like other teams that have a better situation in the NFC. So it's a tough spot, I think, for them this year. I think
Yeah,
they're
I
good.
think they're gonna be really good. I think they're basically added the defensive player of the year to their roster in Aiden Hutchinson, and they won 15 games with, and he was only there for like 5 of them.
Hmm.
So I think that he's gonna make a huge difference for them on defense. I think that their young secondary is going to be even better. I just think they have so many young, talented players entering the prime of their career. And as far as the coordinators go, I mean, just from knowing people in Detroit, like I think that they're going to be schematically better defensively. I think they lose some leadership with Aaron Glenn, but I don't think scheme wise there's going to be any drop off, and I don't think there's going to be a real drop off on offense scheme wise because I know people there. I know people that know Johnny Morton and David Shaw, who, basically is like co-offensive coordinator. Uh, you know, given what the kind of roles they have there, and I think they're just going to roll it up. I just think they're going to be a point juggernaut again, and I think the defense will be better. I do think they won't win as many games in the regular season because of the schedule. I think they're going to drop down to the 11 to 13 range. So they'll lose a few more, but I think unless they have another season lost to injuries, I think they'll be more dangerous in the playoffs this coming year. With a healthy Hutchinson and the depth they have on the defensive line, I think is much better.
Yeah, well, they do still have injuries there. Like Aleem McNeil is not ready, and one of the other defensive tackles got hurt too. So like they're it's not off to a good start, with the injuries. But we'll,
Well,
we'll
he'll
see.
be
Yeah,
back though. I mean, he's gonna miss some time early in the
yeah,
season, but he'll be back by mid-year,
yeah.
and then I think with the rotation with him and Reeder and Tyleek Williams is going to be really good.
Yeah. He'll be back by the mid year. Well, we'll see how effective he is coming off the injury. But I don't know. Like a lot of players coming off injury, like I just worry if they're going to be 100%. I think like if this is their down year, I think next year they could rebound. But as far as this year, I'm just down on them. I bet them to miss the playoffs. I think at like plus 170. So, Ricky Pearsall went. I was hoping he would come back to me. I kind of wanted to see where he would go. Honestly, it was close between him and Travis Hunter for me. I love Travis Hunter. I love Pearsall. I love both of them. I'm trying to get two of Hunter, Pearsall, or and Emeka Ibuka. I used to be able to get all of them. Like I said a few weeks ago, I used to take Hunter round 6, Pearsall round 7, Ibuka round 8. It was like clockwork. It was so easy. Now you can't get any of them. They all go round 5. Sometimes one leaks into like round 6, but I think people have kind of caught on to what's happening. So yeah, I'm going to be drafting a lot earlier, even more so next year. What are your thoughts on Hunter? Obviously, another rookie. For me, I think that he's going to have a great year. But what do you think?
Yeah, I'm not that bullish on the Jaguars because I just don't like their team at the point of attack. So I just don't like the offensive line. I don't like the defensive line on the inside. So because of that, I'm not as bullish on a lot of their players, with the exception of Brian Thomas. But it's just such a unique player, and this is very different kind of situation with him trying to play both ways, and whether he can hold up doing it. So I just haven't been drafting him. I kind of want to. I'll watch him this year and then kind of see where it goes as to whether he's a viable fantasy player for me next year.
See, I don't think he's going to play both ways a lot. Like he's going to play offense a lot, but we saw it in the first preseason game. He played every single snap except for one on offense, and then that next defensive drive, he didn't take a single snap. I think he's going to be playing in like some sub packages and stuff like that, but I don't think he's going to be a main defensive starter, at least not for a while, maybe next year or something. But it's a much tougher transition to cornerback, especially if you're not studying film full time on going against Nico Collins twice, for example, going against Calvin Ridley twice, and plus the other really good receivers in that conference. Like I just don't think he's going to be on the field defensively that often. Like he will be sometimes, but not that often. I think that people have that perception that he's not going to be full time offense, and I think that I think he will be full time offense just based on what we've seen in the preseason. And I think his talent wins out. I was going to take DJ Moore. It was a great value there. I do still
Hmm.
like some of the receivers here. And okay, there's 2 I'm deciding between. Yeah, I like waiting on receiver because I like the receiver talent like round 5, round 6. Let me see. Yeah, there's like 3 guys I'm considering. So, let me think. So, I'm going to go with I'm going to go Deebo Samuel. I've been warming up to him. I think people are down on him, but people kind of forget that he had pneumonia last year. And if you look at the games that he didn't have pneumonia or the lingering effects, like he was really good. Like he had a great start, and then he got hurt, and then he got pneumonia, obviously, and then like very late in the year, like that's when he kind of got back to what he was before. And I mean, who knows? McLaurin might hold out for a while, and if so, then I could have the number one receiver. Jaden Daniels is number one receiver, which seems pretty good. So, what are your any thoughts on some of these picks or Samuel or whatever or McMillan who just went, or I love Pearsall. Any thoughts on those guys? Tyler Warren too.
Well, I was gonna take DeAndre Swift here, but Troy McClure snatched him away from me. So
McClure always takes my
I'm
guys, so I definitely hear you.
yeah,
That's fair game.
gosh, you got me. And I agree. I like DJ Moore. I like Sutton there. I think those are, really nice values because they're wide receiver ones. So for me here, I really need a running back, and I'm not crazy about any of my options. Um, but amongst them, I probably like Aaron Jones the most, just because I think he's the most consistent and safe of these options. And I don't think Jordan Mason is going to end up, being, you know, kind of a featured guy. I think Jones will he's more of a number two. So I'm going to take Jones.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I love Tyler Warren. I think he's gonna have a great year. I usually take him like seventh or eighth round. Pickens, I was considering too. I just don't trust Dallas. Like everyone seems to be high on Dallas. I'm not. I think that was just they're coached terribly, and I don't trust the offensive line. And if the offensive line isn't good, then Dak Prescott is not at peak capacity. So that is it's a scary situation. But Pickens sometimes goes round 4 in best ball, so like round 6 seems like a good value. So that's why I was considering him. Jalen Warren is a little early at 6'10 for my liking. He probably starts right away, but like he could always be usurped by Caleb Johnson. So any thoughts on that situation?
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't take either guy, to be honest. And the Steelers' offensive line also, they needed some young guys to step up and improve. So I wouldn't. I'm staying away from both Warren and Caleb Johnson.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how are you feeling about your draft so far? Because I mean, you've addressed every position, every main position.
Yeah,
Two
I
running backs, two
feel I
receivers.
feel it's a solid team. I'm a little, stung from missing out on Gibbs and Bijan at 4, but otherwise I feel it's a well-rounded, solid team. Like pretty safe picks, not nothing. That no, I don't feel any of these guys will go bust for me.
Well,
Barring
you're up.
injury, of
You're up.
course.
You're up.
Yeah.
As I cry myself to my next pick. Go ahead.
Yeah, this isn't a great spot. But given the options here, uh, hmm, I'm kind of debating between, mm, I mean, just given what's on the board, I like some of these receivers and some of the depth there. I probably like the depth at receiver more than running back. So with that being the case, I'm going to take David Montgomery
Okay.
because I know I'm going to get a lot of touchdowns with him.
Yeah, I was upset by Charbonnet being taken off the board. Actually, I loved Oduse Golden and Charbonnet from a pick. They went back to back to back. Also, Addison was going to consider as my fourth receiver. So, you guys are killing me here. I love Charbonnet. He's one of my must draft players for the late rounds. Usually his ADP is like round 8 or round 9. So 703 is a little early, but like he wasn't going to make it back to scary hours. So like I can definitely respect the pick. Charbonnet is just really impressive. He was great last year when he had the chance. I think Kenneth Walker's going to be either traded or injured because that's, he always gets injured or it's his contract year. And Seattle has they have a couple good running backs in addition to Walker. The other Boise State running back that we have, he's been impressive in the preseason, and then Charbonnet has been great. They added Oots to run block, and Zabel to help with that as well. It just seems like Seattle's gonna be able to run the ball pretty well this year, and they've been utilizing two running back sets in practice. So it's kind of like what Tampa did last year with Rashad White and Bucky Irving. So I think like even if Walker doesn't get hurt or traded, like you're going to see Charbonnet on the field anyway. Bigsby goes, so I am up on the clock right now. Interesting that yeah, some of these names we like a month ago they would have gone like Mixon, Brian Robinson, even Judkins, even so. But yeah, they are their ADP has to move down sooner or later. I think that's an interesting name. Rashee Rice is. I'm going to take Rashee Rice. Well, like he could be suspended. They're talking about 10 games potentially. I don't think he's going to get 10 games. I think he's going to get 6 games. And if he gets 6 games, then I'm perfectly fine with him at 708. Now, if it's more than that, then I'll regret the pick. But I think there's enough upside for him at 708. When he takes the field, he's a monster. If he weren't suspended at all, he'd be a second round pick. We know that from best ball. So he was scoring like 209, 210. And like with Jefferson, Hunter, and Samuel, I won't need him for the first 6 weeks. So when he comes back, if he comes back, we'll see. Depends what happens, but he could be a force for me down the stretch in the playoffs. So I think not knowing what the suspension is and thinking it might be 6 games, I think 7th round is perfect for Rice. So what are your thoughts on that situation? If you have you heard anything on like what the suspension might be for him?
Yeah, I was hearing like between 6 and 8 games. So I think it's going to be somewhere in there. I don't think it'll be 10, but I think 6 or 8 is probably a pretty safe bet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's less than that, if it's like 5 or 4, then I think that's really great value.
Oh yeah, if it's 4, yeah, because he's been going in best ball. He's been going like round 5 or so, and that was when people thought it'd be 4 games. And now his ADP has slipped a little bit because of that news story that broke that the NFL proposed 10 games, but then they were arguing about it, so that's why they're going to like arbitrage. So we'll see. I think it'll be 6, but you're right, it could be 8 as well. If it's 8, I would draft him round 8. If it's 6, I think round 7 makes the most sense because, like I said, as long as he's your 4th receiver, you're not going to need him until the bye week start anyway. So, and then you get him in the playoffs, which is the important thing. So, Brett, you're about to time out. 10 seconds. It looks like he's not even in here because it doesn't have that green circle next to his name. So, so you got timed out. I have to restart because I'm hearing ticking in my head. And I don't know if you guys hear it, but I sometimes I get that ticking if someone doesn't make a pick and it just keeps on going. So it is loaded. Hopefully it loads. I don't know what's going on here. Might be slow tonight. We'll see. Hopefully hopefully I don't miss my pick. Or you might have to share your screen if this doesn't doesn't load. I don't know what's going on. If picks are made, can you read them out just so like people?
Sure.
Here we go. We're good. Josh Downs just went. So that was the only pick I missed. Josh Downs. So, all right. So Yo-Ye only has 1 running back, so we'll see what he does. He's kind of like situation I'm in. I think everyone he still only has 1 running back. I think everyone has 3 or at least 3, except for me and Brett, who's on auto draft, and Yo-Ye. So. Armac has 2, but he took 2 early. So, and there we go, Judkins. So, that's another weird situation. I wouldn't take Judkins here. I don't know. Like, not only do we not know if he's going to sign because he hasn't signed yet, but like he's so far behind in training camp, and also Cleveland kind of sucks. So like he's not he's not receiving back. So like when they're behind, he's not going to be doing much. So like in the like the 3 games they win this year, if he plays, like he could be good. But in the other games that are not competitive, like he's just not going to be a factor. So it's a rough
Yeah,
spot.
I think that Cleveland, I like with Flacco being named the starter, I think you could have some early season value in guys like Jerry Judy and David Njoku. But I think once Flacco gets benched for one of the young guys, then I think you're looking at, benching that guy because you just can't trust that the young guy is going to get him the ball. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the of the past 2 days, him getting named the starter, and then I think Daniel Jones getting named the starter definitely brings more value to Tyler Warren and Michael Pittman and even Jonathan Taylor as well, because I think he's just going to be able to extend more drives. He's more accurate. I think they'll be able to, get Taylor more carries. So, yeah, I feel like those starting quarterbacks being named can have had a real impact on some of these guys for fantasy.
I think the only Colt who got hurt was Alec Pierce because Richardson loves throwing deep to him. But yeah, I agree. It feels like everyone else got
Right.
a bump from Daniel Jones, and to win games, I think he was probably the best option. But long term, I think like Richardson would have been. So I don't know. Like all we heard from beat reporters is that Richardson was having a great camp. So I was kind of surprised by that news. But then I thought about it. I was like, wait, most beat reporters suck at their jobs, so they're probably just reporting
Right.
misinformation. So yeah, there are some good ones out there. I'm not trashing every beat reporter. Like a lot of them are bad, and so you have to take what they say with a grain of salt, which we discuss all the time on here. So Erod's not doesn't have a green circle either. So you might get a timeout for him. So hopefully there's not more ticking. It's like we hear it now, but like sometimes it ticks after the pick, and just like I just can't concentrate, so I have to reload it. Okay, so he takes Stephon Diggs. Don't draft Stephon Diggs, please. All right, so I am up, and there might be some good running backs here because I need a running back, and yeah, it looks like a bunch of them are gone. So usually these sort of running backs that I take are like guys I take in like round 11 or so in best ball, but in best ball you're taking two quarterbacks or three quarterbacks sometimes. So like these guys should be pushed up a little bit. I'm gonna. I don't think this guy's gonna come back to me, and this might be seem like a reach, but I've kind of learned my lesson here, and in taking running backs. I'm gonna take Braylon Allen. I think that well, first of all, the Jets. We know the Jets love him. That's been reported a lot. I just said that you shouldn't trust reporting, but actions speak louder than words, and we've seen them give Allen like almost 50-50 split with Brees Hall in two preseason games so far. He's handled all the third down reps. He's handled short yardage. And from all accounts, or from multiple accounts, it sounds like Brees Hall could be on the move. It's his contract year; he could be traded. And like if the coaching staff loves Braylon Allen a lot, and Allen is super young, I think Allen could be the starter like in the second half of the year in the playoffs. So as like Connor wears down, I could have Allen coming on. So I just love the pick for upside. What are your thoughts on the situation?
Yeah, I definitely would think that, that this point of the draft, he's a good bet because I think at least you're getting 50-50, if not the starter come, the back half of the season. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like that.
Okay, you're up here.
So yeah, this is a tough one because uh hmm, well, I like few receiver options, not a big fan of my running back options, and I prefer to take a receiver here just for balance on the roster. And this one, I'm gonna break your heart, but I'm gonna have to maybe go a little early
Uh oh. I know
on
it's
your guy,
I know who this is. Yeah, I'll be upset.
Dante Thornton.
Yeah, yeah.
It's too good a value at this point to
Well,
to to wait on,
well,
a guy that
you
could
have
be a
all
true number one for them.
you have the sources. So tell us why Thornton's so great.
Well, they just have raved about him. They said he this could be a great one, and just has to stay healthy. So, he's a rookie, so you might want to, draft them and have them on the bench until you start seeing the production come. That's what I did last year, I think, for like 1 week with Bowers, and then I had him going. Uh, and but same people there told me about Darren Waller the year before he exploded, and I took him in the last round of my draft in that league that we have, and he was huge for me that season. So, just trusting those guys, they haven't let me down in the past. I figured I'm gonna take Thornton here.
Yeah, I take him in the 13th round every single time. It used to be 18th, and then it was like 16th, and now it's 13th. I believe he's my second highest owned player. No, third. He's my third highest owned player. Behind, well, one guy hasn't been taken yet, so I don't want to mention his name. You guys know who it is. The other one also hasn't been taken yet, but he's not going to be drafted. It's Tyler Higbee. I just take him like 19th round every time, just because like he has both a floor and a high ceiling. I think just because there's no Cooper Cup, so someone has to take the stuff over the middle of the field, and we saw that last year when they benched Cooper Cup late in the year. Like Higbee went nuts in the playoffs, so I think that could carry over. But then again, Stafford's injured, so I don't really know how that's going to play out. But I think he at least has a high floor. But in best ball, you're looking for ceiling. But like I said, he has a ceiling. Jawan Jennings goes. He's interesting. He's dealt with a calf injury forever. Like feels like a month and a half. He's dealt with this stupid calf injury. We'll see if he recovers. But he used to be one of my highest owned players as well. But given that he hasn't been healthy, I'm worried about it. And like we have a history with Niner players with calf injuries. Last year, Christian McCaffrey had apparently a calf injury, but little did we know it was a tendonitis in both Achilles. I don't know how that turned into it. Jacory Krosky-Maricos, I want to get your opinion on this guy, but you have this pick here. So tell us what you're going to do, and then I'd love to hear your
Yeah,
thoughts on Krosky-Maricos.
yeah, I definitely think that they're planning on going with him a lot to shop Brian Robinson like this. But I'm gonna fill out my bench, and with this pick, I'm gonna take Michael Pittman. Just because I think with Daniel Jones being named the starter, he's gonna get the ball to him more. He's their number one receiver, and getting a true number one in the ninth round, I think is just good value.
Yeah, if this were Richardson, I wouldn't be high on that pick, but yeah, with Jones,
Right.
that's definitely a good selection. And
I
by the way, we have,
completely agree.
yeah.
You can't trust Richardson. He's just too inaccurate. I agree at Pierce because the best thing Richardson does is throw deep. So it makes sense that Richardson would have that connection with Pierce. But yeah, with Jones being named the starter, I definitely feel like Pittman, Tyler Warren, Jonathan Taylor all are getting to be better values.
Yeah. Oh, what about the thing that worries about? Well, I have a couple of concerns about Taylor, but like one of them is Warren because he ran the tush push at Penn State. Do you think he's going to lose? Do you think Taylor's going to lose 2 or 3 touchdowns this year from that?
Uh, well, I mean, that's a that's a good question. I mean, I don't know if they're really gonna would they really expose him to that, because certain players certain teams just will not expose their valuable players to that. The Eagles are unique that way.
Yeah,
But like Andy Reid would never allow Pat Mahomes to run the tush push. Like
right.
just no chance in hell.
That's,
So
that's definitely true. All right, so I am up right now. I believe this guy's still available. I didn't see him. Yes, I'm going to take Rashid Shaheed. So this violates one of my rules, which is don't draft players on horrible teams. But I think there is. Well, first of all, this is ninth round. It's middle of the ninth round. Second, I think Rashid Shaheed has a high upside. I think he's a really good player, and I don't understand why people are so
I
down
do
on him. Like,
too.
yeah, it feels like he should be going like 2 rounds earlier. And the other concern
Just
I
the
would,
quarterbacks.
yeah, yeah, right. And with the quarterbacks, usually when you have a rookie quarterback or a bad quarterback, they lock in on the number one receiver and tight end. So you might be like, oh, why would you take Shaheed? Well, Chris Olave has this long concussion history, so if I think it's inevitable, like he's going to get hit in the head at some point, and he's going to miss time. But I hope that doesn't happen, but I think it will. And if and when it happens, Shaheed is going to be their number one receiver. And like I said, he's kind of like he kind of does like everything. Like when he entered the NFL, he's just like a speed threat, but like he could do so many things. I just think that he's really good value in the middle rounds. I'm trying to get him in best ball, like usually around 10. So 908 here with these sharp drafters. I think that kind of like fills out my receiving core. And as we see, Brett is on auto draft those 3 quarterbacks. So that almost looks like a best ball team where he took 3 quarterbacks in a row. Like you definitely do that in best ball, but not here.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree, and I also wonder about Olave in the long term there. I wonder if, their season is not going well, if he becomes trade bait because he is nearing the end of the rookie contract, and I could see a playoff team that has Super Bowl aspirations that maybe has some injuries at receiver trying to get him, and I'm honestly surprised the Saints haven't done more fire sale stuff already. I don't know why they brought back Chase Young. He's a locker room cancer. Uh, I don't understand why they haven't tried to try and just load up on draft picks and trade some players that might not be in the long-term plans. And for me, with the concussion history, do you really feel comfortable giving Olave an extension? So why not get something for him? And the sooner you trade him, the probably the better value you'll get because one, he's not hurt yet, but two, there's more time for the team that gets him under contract before he hits free agency. So
Yeah.
yeah, I wonder about that situation. I could see where Shaheed definitely is, kind of takes over as the number one for them for a variety of reasons.
It's a great point. I could see him being dealt. I don't know why. Well, I kind of do know why they haven't had his fire sale, and something that Slew says all the time in the chat, where like Slew says, like the Saints just don't want to be the paper bag Aints anymore. Like they just like they'll take mediocrity over that like in a heartbeat. So I think they just want to be relevant, like somewhat relevant. They don't want to be the worst team in the NFL. Luckily for them and their goal. They have like the 4th easiest schedule in the NFL, so I don't think they're going to have the worst record, even though they might be the worst team. For example, like the Giants are better than the Saints. They have the really good pass rush. They have Neighbors. They have Andrew Thomas. They have some good things going for them. But if you look at their schedule, like I was talking to Evan Daniel, who does the Tuesday show with me, and he actually texted me, and I actually looked at it like 24 hours ago, and I was funny that he texted me. He's like, well, I can't find a win on their schedule. And like I was like, what about at Saints? He's like, yes, but they're underdogs there. And I'm like, it's true, and like they're going to be underdogs in every game. Their schedule is ridiculous. The Giants' schedule is so tough. 4 quarterbacks in a row by Brett. Like this auto draft needs to get better here. Maybe I should take control of auto draft and just take the not like the most like logical player, not the best player. But anyway, the Saints are going to be awful this year, but they're not going to be the worst team. So like that's kind of their goal, is not to be the Aints again, but it certainly feels like they're trending in that direction. So they have to. I feel like for 1 year they have to tank and get, I don't know, Nussmeier, I guess, or if the Saints had the top pick, does Arch Manning come out? Do you think? Because like his grandfather played for them,
Yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting. I guess I think it all depends on how well he plays too, and health and everything else, how things feel at Texas.
Yeah, yeah. I think it might depend on who it is. Like I think if I'm gonna take it's Gorendo time. Sorry guys. He's back in practice. Let's go. By the way, when you said I'm gonna break your heart here, and you took Thornton, I thought you were gonna take Gorendo. Honestly, he's my
Yeah, we
highest.
both love him.
He's my highest drafted guy in best ball. I have him in 69% of drafts. So, yeah. So no, I think if it's one of the, I think if it's his grandfather's team or one of his uncle's teams, like Colts, Giants, and Saints, I think he might be coaxed to come out. Otherwise, I think he goes back. Um, like I think Kid No Name brought up the point that Arch Manning's making a lot of money at Texas, and like that, and while that's true, like what like think about it this way, if he doesn't go to like a favorable team like Saints, Giants, Colts, and he waits a year. What if the Browns had the top pick and like he has to go to the Browns, or like maybe Eli's dad forced to pick, maybe Arch's grandfather, same player, same person forces the trade, or what if like Cooper forces the trade or something? Like I think you know that like that way. I don't know. Like I feel like it's like too much of a risk to go to a horrible team if a team you want is at the top of the draft. But that I don't know. I could be completely wrong about that. So
Yeah, I think it's we have so much to play, coming up here. Tough
yeah.
to say.
Yeah. I don't know. It just yeah, it's 2 years of eligibility left. Yeah, I know. That's definitely true. He could wait another year after that too. So, do the Saints not realize the fan base will hate the front office a lot more if they miss out on Nussmeier and Arch Manning? Well, I don't know. The Saints have a good fan base. I don't think they'll abandon the team. All right, Charlie, you're up at 10:09. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like a lot of these options here. And yeah, I was trying to see. Hmm. I'm gonna take Nick Chubb just because I could see Joe Mixon kind of starting to slow down. He honestly ran better last year than I thought he was going to. I thought his legs were looking like they were starting to go that last season in Cincinnati.
Mhm.
And I think that there's a chance that, Chubb, I think, has a chip on his shoulder. I could see him being a nice platoon back as a backup guy that might end up being a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, Mixon, I feel like it's gonna miss a lot of time this year. I was listening to like what a doctor was saying about his situation, and he was saying that like the re-injury risk is so high on Mixon. So even if he
Right.
returns, that like he could you just get knocked out again. So, yeah, it's tough. But we'll see. We'll see about Chubb. I heard reports saying that like he has no explosion anymore, but he was the starter for them in the preseason game. So and like Woody Marks, so
Right.
I thought Woody Marks might get a chance, but he's like buried on the depth chart. So kind of cooled
Yeah.
on him. So I don't know. Um, I wanted to get your opinion on, and this is a guy who entered my sleepers list this week or this past week. Was Torrey Horton from Seattle. He is typically in best ball, he's typically going like 16th round, 15th, 16th round. He's been impressive in training camp. He had a great preseason game. Um, so what any thoughts on him? Because he kind of slipped in the draft.
Yeah, I like that as a sleeper because, you look at their GM, John Schneider, he's done a really nice job of kind of taking these sleeper steel wideouts with uh guys like Doug Baldwin in the past and Tyler Lockett and others that, Lockett was what, like day two pick, but he's gotten a lot of good receivers out of the mid and late rounds, so I definitely think he's a worthy sleeper,
Okay, yeah, I like
and
him.
I'm on the
Okay,
clock.
yeah, you're up now. So what are you doing at 11:04?
Yeah, this is. hmm, I mean, given my options here, I'm gonna end up taking David Njoku just because if Laporta were to have more injuries like he did in the, last year, he finished the year strong. Beginning of the year was kind of quiet because he was dealing with, I think, an ankle. So this gives me some depth here at tight end, and I think Njoku could produce real well with Flacco for a while.
Yeah, I was gonna consider Njoku at 11:08. The concern is the quarterback. And you'd prefer Flacco because Njoku went nuts with Flacco 2 years ago, but
Right,
we just
exactly.
yeah, we just don't know how long Flacco's going to last as the starter. Like, what if he's benched by week 4? Then suddenly you're counting on Kenny Pickett or Shador Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. What do you make of that situation? By the way, there are two rookies there. Like, how does that play out? I mean, obviously Flacco's going to start, but like by like mid season, who do you think the quarterback's going to be?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be whichever of the two rookies they like more from practice in the film room. And I mean, given kind of what they've done with depth charts and whatnot, I think they probably have an inclination towards Gabriel at this point
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
to
I
get the
never.
first crack at it. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy to me. I didn't see like Gabriel as like a draftable prospect. Like he went third round. I was like, okay.
Y-
I don't know. I
Yeah,
guess
I mean, and they took him in the third over Shador, so
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, that situation doesn't make any sense to me. But I guess like crazier things have happened. I don't know. He seems like a CFL quarterback to me, like it's mobility and stuff like that. But he has no arm, and he's 5'10".
yeah, I
You know,
agree. I didn't like him as a prospect. I just thought he's, kind of more like a third string caliber player, backup in the NFL. And I like Shador, so I don't understand it, but it's the Browns, so you have to kind of throw reason to the wind when you're
yeah.
talking about them.
Yeah, you definitely do. It's always a weird situation with the Browns. Um, man, this is a pretty tough spot here for me. I need a tight end. I'm gonna stack Josh Allen with Dalton Kincaid. I don't love Kincaid. Is like Dawson Knox is always like creeping around there, and like Kincaid, I don't necessarily trust the knee. Like Kincaid when he was healthy last year, in like first like 7 or so weeks of the season, I think he was like the tight end 8, which I would certainly take at 11:08. But I'm not fully concerned. I'm not fully believing that he's healthy. But you got you and Troy. Troy's sniping us like crazy today. I was gonna consider Njoku and Loveland, and you guys both broke my heart. So thank you for that. But no, it's it's fine. I was also gonna consider Tucker Craft at 10:05, but Erod took him, so it's pretty rough here, just being sniped left and right. That's I find like this is good practice because drafting with these guys is I think it's kind of like when I swam, you would when a big meet was coming up, you would practice with like your swim trunks, your beach swim trunks, like you'd have a t-shirt on just to weigh you down, and then when your big meet came, you took everything off and just had the speedo on, you'd be flying. Like I feel like this is the same thing. Like you're drafting with like tough like a super smart guys for the most part, not this auto drafter, but like the super smart guys for the most part. And then like once the real draft starts, like you're gonna have a couple of dumb people in your league, and it'll be a lot easier. Um,
Yeah,
so 5 quarterbacks in a row. This AI needs to needs to be given a boost here. So Troy Franklin goes.
holy cow.
Oh, Armac. Sorry you didn't get Troy Franklin. I'm kind of sorry I didn't get Troy Franklin because I like him. And we had Mathiasen, who's negative Nancy here, saying, I think those teams suck. Lots of questionable stuff during this draft. And also definitely reach. It's funny. He said reach for my Braylon Allen pick, and then Kid No Name says Allen was 100% not making it back to you. So apparently it wasn't a reach. Chris asking Walton Charlie, I'm in a 2-keeper league, and 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks are kept. Would you take Burrow or Allen if he falls to round 2? This is a 6-point passing touchdown league as well. I mean, it's kind of hard to answer that, not knowing who's available. I would go off my cheat sheet. And if like Allen, if one of the top 2 quarterbacks is still there, and he's the best player on the board, then I would take him. But like if there's someone better, but like even in a keeper league like that may not be the case. So it could be that Allen is the best player on the board. So I don't think there's anything wrong with taking him in round 2. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Charlie.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, it's hard when you don't know who's going to be there, but I think both of those are, I mean, they're both going to produce big for you, so I think you really can't go wrong with either one. But between the two, I'd lean towards Allen for fantasy just because he's going to get you that the rushing that that's so valuable from a quarterback.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we've had some sketchy picks here. Five quarterbacks in a row, Brian Robinson. So it's the two guys on auto draft. So I'm going to be coming up here pretty quickly after Trump Best makes his pick. Trump Best has had some good picks here. Jaden Blue I was going to take. Horton I was going to consider later. Franklin I was going to consider later. So it looks like he has a pretty good team. Not that I mean I don't want to necessarily start breaking teams down now, but I think we could. I mean, so Trump, while we talking about Trump Best, so he had Neighbors, Pearsall, Downs, Horton. I think the receiving depth is a little lacking. I look at it at the top, but I think I would like ideally like one more receiver there. But HN, Harvey, Tracy, Blue, that's a really good running back core. I think Jane Daniels and Hawkinson. It looks like a good team to me. Any thoughts on Trump Best's team to kind of get ahead of what we're doing here?
I like I like his team. I like the late round picks there. I think they have upside, especially with Hawkinson and Tracy. I think those could be good values.
Yeah. Speaking of late round picks, I found a way to add a 16th round, guys. So we had that discussion before. I was like, why is this 15 rounds? And I was able to add a 16th round. So I didn't realize you could add rounds. And then I found it in the settings while we were talking before the show. I'm like, oh, now we can have 16 rounds. All right. So wow, six quarterbacks in a row. What is happening here? Um, this is bizarre.
So weird.
I wonder if he's just going to be taking quarterbacks. I don't know. You know what it is? It's the quarterback's the top player available, I think. So it might be Godwin next, but we'll see. I do need a backup quarterback. Not that I necessarily like need one with Josh Allen, but the rest of these it's like kind of slim pickings here. So I mean, there are some names who interest me. And I want to I think I might want to highlight one player just because I want to get your take on him just because he was a recent draft pick. So I'm gonna draft this guy, and where is he? Will Shipley. So I've been taking him in like the 15th round or so, 15th, 16th round, pretty frequently. My thinking is, first of all, he's the concrete RB2 there. Like in the last preseason game where they played no starters, he actually rested and Dylan started that game. So Shipley's definitely ahead of Dylan. We saw last year Shipley have some big runs late in the year when Barkley would rest a little bit in the second half. Like the NFC Championship, for example, he had a long touchdown run. I think he's pretty talented. I've liked what I've seen from him. And if Barkley goes down with that heavy workload, like he had the most touches in the NFL last year, Shipley could easily step in and have a huge year behind that great offensive line. So from covering Shipley in the draft recently, what are your thoughts on him? And like, do you think he's like a worthy late round sleeper?
Yeah, I do, and I think especially with if you drafted Barkley, it might not be a bad idea to handcuff it, so that way if Barkley gets hurt, you're retaining the starting uh, running back for the Eagles and that offensive line. So definitely I like that pick.
Okay, yeah, glad to hear. I would have considered Algier as well, but he's been in the league longer. We know what Algier is, so I feel like most people aren't familiar with Shipley. Maybe they know the name, but like he tends to, like I said, he tends to go like 15th, 16th round, sometimes 17th round. So I just feel like people are behind on him. There aren't that many players that people are behind on in this stage of the summer, whereas like a month ago, people had no idea what they're doing. But like Shipley, I think like he's one of the guys who's still going too late. So Jalen Wright just went. You are on the clock, Charlie. What are you doing at 12:09?
Yeah, I mean, not a fan. There's no one I'm in love with at this point, but I think just given what's available, mm, I this guy hurt me last year, but I'm gonna just take him and stash him on the bench and wait and see, and that's Brandon Ayuk. I could see, if he kind of rounds into form mid-season, he could end up being a nice guy that you're considering starting. He has, more history with Brock Purdy than some of the other receivers there, and I think that he could definitely bounce back, with Debo Samuel gone if he's healthy.
Yeah, we'll see if he recovers from the injury. But I mean, obviously, if you told someone last year that I could be in the 12th round, they would jump on it. Ali Gordon went to 12-10, so he went 2 picks after Jalen Wright, which I think is interesting. So Jalen Wright, everyone considers him to be the handcuff, or at least they did. But Ali Gordon has looked so much better in the preseason. He was like running over defenders, like trampling over them. Like it was really impressive. Whereas like Jalen Wright hasn't really done much with his opportunities. Do you have any read on that Miami situation? Because Achane could get hurt. Actually, Achane is hurt. It sounds like he's gonna be ready for week 1. But like if he isn't, what do you make of that Miami running back situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Ollie Gordon, I like him as a late round option because I don't trust Achan to stay healthy. I don't think Jalen Wright has done enough to prove, that he's the secure number two, and Gordon's looked great in the preseason, and I think he brings some more physicality that the other two are lacking. So I definitely, coming from that San Francisco, offense, I think that they use a lot of backs. So I could definitely see Gordon eating up a lot of goal line as well.
Yeah, they had issues on the goal line. Even Tyreek Hill came out and said, "We don't want Achane at the goal line." So, yeah, it could be Gordon for sure. Although I don't really trust anything Hill says at this point. I don't know if he's gonna be on the team the whole year. Um, Khalil Shakir went at 12-12. I kind of like did a double take because I didn't realize he was off. He was still on the board. Obviously, I have Josh Allen, so I was going to take him at 1308. I don't like he doesn't have upside, but he has a high floor at least. So he usually goes like round 8 in best ball. So it's kind of surprising to see him go so late. So you're up right now at 1304. So what are you doing?
Yeah, at this point, I'm just kind of shooting for the moon in the draft, just kind of trying to potentially get really good values. If I didn't have a backup tight end, I'd probably take Jonnu Smith here. I really like him. If you don't take a tight end early, because I could see him being a number two, but I'm gonna take Najee Harris here, even though he might be out a bit early on. He only has a rookie to deal with, so, and more experience in Blitz Pro, and I think that I could see where he ends up getting some good amount of work there, and just for a solid bench back.
Yeah, the eye injury scares me. I just don't know how severe it is, but like if the depth perception is gone, then he may not be like a real player again. But if it's not as bad as it sounds, then he comes back. Then yeah, I mean like yeah, he could definitely take the workload away from Hampton. I do love Hampton this year. I just think that hearing like depth perception lost for a running back is just like very terrifying to me. It's like, is he gonna be able to see the running lanes? I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, what happened to him, but it's
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
crazy.
from what I think they said the other day that it's looking like he's getting better and things are improving.
Mhm.
So, I think that, well, it's such a unique injury, but at this point in the draft, to get a guy that could be a starter if he's healthy, running back one, or at least a platoon, role, I think is good value.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Um, So I thought it was funny that Armac, who I don't think is on the board, he got Marvin Mims. I think that might have been auto draft. I'm not sure, but he got Godwin. That was auto draft, unfortunately. So I am up here. And this is one of Kenny's favorite players. Probably the last running back I'm going to choose. It's going to be Keaton Mitchell, who has just game breaking speed. Obviously, last year he was coming off the torn ACL, so I didn't expect him to do much. But now he's healthy, and he looked ready to roll in that one preseason game that he played in. He looked fantastic, and they didn't even bother playing him in the second preseason game, which is good news as far as I'm concerned. And I think if Derrick Henry goes down, I don't think Justice Hill is going to be the starter. I think it's going to be Keaton Mitchell with Justice Hill playing third downs. Yeah, Mitchell is just really impressive with what he does with the ball in his hands. So we'll see. He's another one of these home run picks, I think, that you can get in the late rounds. And our friend Brett is taking the seventh quarterback in a row here. It's just all quarterbacks. This thing's broken. I was gonna take Lawrence on the way back, but apparently not.
He must have done something with this queue or something with quarterbacks
It could be
because
it. Yeah, I think you're right.
because it doesn't make sense that you would take uh Drake May and JJ McCarthy over guys like Goff, Penix, Stafford,
Yeah,
Morris, Tua, Rogers. It's surprising. So
yeah,
I think he
yeah.
did something with his queue.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, so I have to apologize to the AI overlords that are going to enslave us in like 50 years, or even probably sooner than that. So I blamed AI for that, and apparently it was Brett SC's cue there. I did want Lawrence to
That's my
pair him with.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted Lawrence to pair with Travis Hunter, or I wanted McCarthy to pair with Justin Jefferson. I know I have Josh Allen, but it's kind of like the whole stacking thing. But given the quarterbacks off the board, Cam Ward's another one I like. I just don't really see a point in taking another quarterback. Which you mentioned Jared Goff, by the way. This is quite the fall for Jared Goff, who like at the beginning of the offseason, and I've been doing best ball drafts since like April or March, whenever it opened. He was going like sixth, seventh round. And now, like in best ball, he falls to like 11th round. Here, he's fallen to the 14th round. Um, do you see any value with Goff? Because like you were eighth quarterback. Do you see any
Well,
value
yeah,
with Goff? Good.
big time, big time. Yeah, I would. We'll see if he gets to my pick, but in a lot of my practice drafts, I've been taking him as my backup quarterback. I think he's gonna still have a huge season in terms of fantasy numbers, touchdowns, yards, everything over 4,000. I bet he goes over 30 touchdowns again and has great receivers, great running game. He's so smart at the line with what he does and the play calls he puts them in. And, the system is the same for him. Johnny Morton was there installing the offense that they ran with Ben Johnson. So this is the same offense. It's the same Dan Campbell led team. So, all those years with Andy Reid and Belichick losing coordinators, and the team still wins. It's just if you have that culture, if you have good talent, it's gonna keep rolling. And I just think they're gonna be right back where they have been the past couple years.
Yeah. The thing is, he has to go outside a lot this year. He only went outside twice, and the Lions have to go outside twice by rule, at least in the meantime, before the Bears build their dome, like their retractable roof stadium. But so yeah, at Packers, at Bears, they have to go outside twice, and they only had to go outside twice last year. But it's gonna be a lot more this year. Chris Rodriguez goes. That is an interesting name because of the Brian Robinson situation. You're up at 1409. So what are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't think the outside thing bothers me at all because I mean they practice outside in Michigan. So they can if they can simulate whatever situation they're going to be in and they beat the Packers in a frigid game and Aaron Rodgers last game horrible temperatures. They've won at Chicago in the cold. And I live in Tampa, and the Bucks have won cold weather games against the Packers and the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. So I lean towards the better team uh is gonna win, regardless of the conditions a lot. So I'm taking Goff here to be my backup, and I think it's really good value. And also I have Laporta, so there'd be some stack option there.
Yeah, I meant golf specifically, not like the Lions. I have faith that the Lions can win out
Oh
there.
yeah.
You brought that up, but like golf throughout his career, not just with Detroit, also LA, like he's really struggled outdoors for the most part. And I know they won those games last year, but still, like I'd still be concerned about it. So Armac is back. He's taking Pat Bryant. I don't know to make up for Marvin Mims, but that is an interesting pick because he looked good in that last preseason game. That Broncos offense looked like the 99 Rams with like Jarrett Stidham. I wonder if like Stidham's going to command any trade potential if there's any injuries to quarterback because he looked really good. He looked like John Elway slinging the ball around. See, Bryce Young taking Kyle Monangai was drafted. I don't know what to make the Chicago running back situation. Do you have like any lean there as far as like who's going to be the main guy or who's going to get the third down play and goal line situations? I don't know what Ben Johnson's going to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's so obscure. I would take Swift. I think where did he go in this one, the sixth round? I think that's a good value for him, but I wouldn't take any of the others. At least Swift has a history,
Yeah.
with Ben Johnson. So, all right, so I'm at 15th round here, and mm, you know. I'm gonna have to take. I draft a defense typically, um, but you know, and yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I have the rest of my bench filled out, so with these defenses available, I'm just gonna have to go. Man, I feel conflicted between the Eagles, Broncos, and Steelers, but I'll go with the Broncos. I think their defense is just a lot of unsung guys, but it's just really so fundamentally sound, and they just play really tough football.
Yeah, they get Tennessee week 1 as well, so that's inside. Steelers get the Jets week 1, and there we go. Kid No Name takes the Jets. Um, Yeah, I definitely think there's you could definitely take either one of those. I do want to take normally if you have to you have to take a defensive kicker. Obviously, if you're in a league that doesn't force you to do so, don't do it because not like unless you're drafting with like 2 days left of the season, don't do it now because some sleepers might arise. So you just don't want to miss out on them. So you can always add a defensive kicker. It doesn't really matter like when you do it. So I think normally I would take a defense here. I wanted to get your opinion on this guy, so I'm going to take him. He had a great first preseason game or second preseason game, I should say. Actually, it was the third preseason game because they played in the Hall of Fame game. So that's my mistake. And he replaced an injured player, and he was playing with the starters. So his name is Keandre Lambert Smith. When Quinton Johnston suffered the concussion, Lambert Smith came into the game, I should say, and he caught a touchdown. He looked really good, I thought, and I don't know if this is true or not. Someone told me I should probably like look it up to see if it's true. But apparently, Justin Herbert was talking to Lambert Smith, and he's like, "Yeah, there's more of this to come." And so it sounds like if that's true, Herbert likes Lambert Smith. I'm a fan of him. I was kind of surprised he went so late in the draft. I thought he'd go earlier. What are your any Sean McCoy?
Yeah, I like him. I liked him a lot in the draft. I thought he would go a few rounds higher than he did. So, yeah, I think this point in the draft, you're looking at potential, home run steals, and he definitely could be one with Johnston. And then also, I mean, McConkey. I mean, he's not the biggest of guys. Teams had durability concerns with him, so. I definitely think that Lambert Smith is a nice late round, flyer pick.
We have breaking news. The guy who's Brett has stopped taking quarterbacks. He went Javonte Williams and Dallas Goddard at the end. I don't know what happened there. I guess he ran out of quarterbacks in his queue. But that's funny. I took Matt. I don't know who was it. What his name is. Max Trujillo. So as my kicker, I actually would have if this were serious, I would have drafted Cam Little from the Jaguars, who hit a 70-yard field goal, which it didn't count because it's preseason, but it's still really impressive to see. And he hit he hit a 53-yarder on Sunday as if it was like nothing. And the announcers even said like it would have been good from 65. So apparently this kicker is pretty good, and it's kind of crazy that like you get to midfield, that's a 68-yard field goal. Like for him, he can make it, I guess. And so with the new kickoff rules, you start at the 35. Like all you need is 15 yards, and you're in little range, which is kind of insane if you think about it. Yeah. Anyway, we're up in the final round here. We had a trade question. Chris, what's the max rounds you could add? I don't know. Actually, don't know. I'll have that answer for you next time. We'll see. Friezel asking 12-man PPR, trade Pickens and Aaron Jones for Chase Brown. Yes. Other receiver. I don't have to know what your team is. Yes, please do it. Aaron Jones is in a committee. We think maybe, and Pickens, he's a head case. He plays for a team that has some major coach question marks. Acosta, nice. No, definitely. Chase Brown side 100% all the way. Afton Chisholm getting drafted. What are your thoughts on him? Because he looks good. Could be the next Amendola / Edelman. My fourth cousin apparently. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm right here. I think I'm gonna take Chase McLaughlin, the Bucks kicker. Weak division, good offense. I don't have any Buccaneers on my roster, so this way, when Bucky Irving or Mike Evans or Mayfield produce some points for me, I at least benefit from a good offense with the kicker and kicks in favorable conditions. And so, yeah, think that's a safe kicker pick. But yeah, I hear you. I mean, our league draft is like usually a week or like 8 or 9 days before the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm typically drafting a defense and kicker because I want to just have the lineup set and not have to worry about it. But yeah, I mean, if we was drafting earlier in August or, late July, then I think it makes sense to just not draft those positions and then, hope that you don't have an injury or anything like that to one of your guys. And then, you get to the week before the season or, a few days before kickoff and you cut a couple and you make your pick between your kicker and your defense.
Yeah, I told the story before. Well, I used to be in a league. Unfortunately, the commissioner passed away this past fall, but this was like 10 years ago, and so he I didn't draft a kicker, and so he forced me to do so. Like he erased my last pick after the draft was over and had me take a kicker. And so he's like, well, you're circumventing the rules here. You need to draft the kicker. I'm like, okay. So the next year I drafted the commissioner. I drafted him as my kicker. he's like, what? He's like, you didn't. I was like, you didn't say he'd be in the NFL. It's like you're my kicker. So that's how I beat the system, I guess. And unfortunately, he's a good friend. Unfortunately, yeah, he passed away in the fall. That's really sad. He left three
Oh,
kids behind. Three younger kids. So it sucks. But um,
oh.
yeah, it's horrible. Jalen Lane, I like that as a sleeper there. Okay, so do you want to go over? Let's go over our teams, and then we'll talk about the other teams. We don't have to talk about the auto drafted teams. We talked about Trump Best already. So Trump Best, if you didn't hear that, we talked about your team earlier, and we could skip these auto draft teams at the end. So Charlie, you went before me. So do you want to talk about your team here?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I feel it's a solid team. I like the upside with Dante Thornton. I think that Pittman and Njoku bring me some, early season value given who the quarterbacks were named. I like my backup quarterback there with Goff. I think Ayuk could come along and be a solid player potentially if he gets back to the pre-injury form. I like my receivers with London and JSN. I think that's probably the strength of my starting lineup, and having Thornton as well as part of that flex package. And Laporta and Montgomery, I think, are going to score a good amount. So I feel good about those guys. I don't generally take Montgomery because um, I have tended to get Gibbs in the first round and a lot of practice mocks where I'm picking. But considering in a seventh, eighth round range, the running backs you're going to get there, he's going to give you yards, he's going to give you touchdowns, and they use him in the passing game. And they're also doing a lot more. Sounds like they're doing a lot more packages this season with Montgomery and Gibbs on the field together. And double running back situations. You can split them both out wide. They both can block. Just makes things difficult for defenses post snap to know what these guys are going to do. So, yeah, I feel like it's a solid, safe team. Doesn't, I'm not in love, but I don't hate it.
That's interesting about Gibbs and Montgomery on the field at the same time. I feel like Tampa Bay kind of led the charge in that regard because they did a lot last year with Irving and Rashad White. So it sounds like a lot of teams are doing that. I mentioned Seattle is doing that, and yeah, it sounds like Detroit is too. So that's really interesting. Okay, so my
Well, and
team.
it goes back to oh yeah, it goes back also to Johnny Morton doing that when being part of Gruden's staff with the Raiders and the 90s with Charlie Gardner and Tyrone Wheatley and some of the other packages there, and David Shaw at Stanford with the running backs he had there, like Toby Gerhardt and McCaffrey and others and Love and stuff. So yeah, I think they're kind of just seeing that they got two jokers, two running backs that can do it all. So yeah, I like that. Hearing that and kind of looking into it, I like that added value that brings to Montgomery.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I have to reconsider that for my rankings, but yeah, don't for the Raiders in the '90s. Don't forget Zach Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier, as the other running back they had. It was like
Right, that's
the
right.
best. The best 1 yard runner of all time. Like they got to the goal line, he's automatic. It was amazing. Anyway, so Jefferson, Hunter, Samuel, Rice, Shaheed. I really like that receiving core. I'm not as high on my running backs though. I love Chase Brown, but James Conner, not an ideal to RB2 at all. But like all the guys, I got sniped there. So if like hindsight, of course, as Cam Newton once says, 50-50. If I had to redo this, I think I would go Hubbard at 308, and then I don't think Allen would make it to me, but maybe Trump S takes Allen instead of Daniels, and then maybe Erod takes Daniels instead of Hurts. Maybe I get Hurts at 405. Or if not, I'm perfectly fine with Joe Burrow there. So I think I would reverse that. I think that would be a lot better. If I had Hubbard instead of Connor, I'd feel much better about my team. I like my late round sleepers. Well, obviously I drafted them. I have to like them, right? So, but Braylon Allen, Garendo, Shipley, Mitchell, they all have lots of upside if the guys ahead of them get hurt. Like those could be league winners. Kincaid, I got sniped here with the tight ends, and Joku Loveland also in the previous round with Kraft. So Kincaid at least stacked with Josh Allen. I didn't really talk about Jake Ferguson. he produces when he's on the field, and given that Dallas has offensive line issues, I think that Prescott might have to go more intermediate. So I don't mind Ferguson there. I was considering Isaiah Likely. He didn't go drafted. Now he's going to be out for like weeks 1 or 2, maybe even 3. But once he returns, he could just provide great value. He's super athletic, and I think that he could really take off this year. So that could have been a good pick to pair with Kincaid. So if like Kincaid just doesn't live up to his potential, then I could just go with Likely when he returns from injury. So that is something else I could have done. So, and then yeah, those are my tight ends, and Josh Allen, a quarterback. So I like everything here except for the running back too. And yeah, I think I need a better RB3 as well. I wanted Charbonnet a lot. I wanted Tracy. I think yeah, Tracy went round 6. I wanted Tracy there. So you guys have been sniping me all month. Just a great job drafting. Seriously, you guys really do a great job of like preparing everyone in here of our fantasy drafts. So let's talk about these teams. Like I said, we're going to skip over the auto drafts, and we're going to talk about Trump best. So Funky Dan at number 1. So he took Chase, Worthy, Williams, Adunze, receiver. I'm not a big fan of like Worthy and Williams. I just feel like Rashi Rice takes away from Worthy. Williams, we talked about Detroit before. Jawan Jennings says cap injury. Hampton, I like. Unfortunately, could be benched, so that is an issue as well. Bowers at 301 is pretty good value. So, and then Murray quarterback is a little worrying, just because what's this? I don't know if that sound is gonna. Charlie, you there? Something's like.
Yeah, I'm here. For some reason, my headphones went out. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Yeah. So, any thoughts on Team 1's team? There's Funky Dance team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bowers pick, nice value there. I like Kyler Murray where he got him, because I think you're going to get some run yards from him as well. I think he's healthy and has a chip on his shoulder. So I like those picks. Odunze kind of scares me because the Bears have so many weapons. I could see where he's kind of a frustrating play where you might have some quiet weeks and then you bench him, and then that's the week he has a huge game. And but then there's the DJ Moore and Komet and Loveland and Burden, and and the throws it to running back. I just don't trust the Bears situation because of all those guys outside of like Swift and Moore, and even them, that's like 6th round kind of ballpark. But otherwise, I'm not a fan of Scadaboo. Drafting him. Jennings pick, I would like more if he wasn't banged up. I think similarly with Shakir, but I like the Reed pick for 13-1. I think that could be a nice value.
Yeah, for sure. Walt, when are you going to update your rookie rankings? So I wasn't planning on it just because like the rookie rankings are available in the cheat sheet, so that's kind of like why I just don't do it. But if you really want me to, I could do it. I just feel like it's kind of redundant with the cheat sheet, And Hunter asking, what are your thoughts on running back, quarterback, first 3 rounds and pick 3 in 10-man PPR? I think 303 is a little too early for a quarterback. I would wait till the 4th round personally, but running back to start is fine. I guess it also depends on who's there too. Okay, so Armac at the 2 spot, he started with Gibbs and Taylor. Obviously, he could start with his running backs, and then his other running backs, Dobbins, Eckler. I'm not a big Eckler guy, but it's not like a terrible pick. Receivers, McConkey, Metcalf, Adams, Waddle, Golden. I'm not a fan of Waddle, but I like the other guys, especially Adams in round 5 seems like good value. And Stafford seems like he might be healthier. Godwin's an auto pick, so I think Mims was as well. But Pat Bryant, kind of good value there too. Mayfield quarterback's fine. Ingram, like him, he's another tight end I was going to consider. So, good team from Armac. A couple picks not a fan of, like I said, Waddle and Eckler, but and obviously the auto draft picks. But what are your thoughts on this team?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like Baker Mayfield where you got him for a starter. I think you're strong with Gibbs and Taylor. I think strong at McConkey and Metcalf and Ingram at tight end. I don't mind Waddle as much considering, he's going like sixth, seventh round, and Tyreek Hill could end up getting traded during the season, in which case I think Waddle could get a lot more targets and even, potentially garbage time. Alan Hearns, vibes there. So with garbage time numbers. So yeah, I don't mind that pick as much. I like Bates as a kicker. On the bench, I'm just, I think, like you said, there was some auto picks there, but I think you got some upside with Mims and Bryant, but you are really loaded up with Broncos, so you might wanna that's a team that you're definitely betting heavy on.
It's just that Armac is a Broncos fan, so it makes sense that he drafted that way. But Denver's gonna be a good team this year. So if you're gonna stack a team, just make sure it's a good one. Like, don't stack the Saints, for example. That's or the Browns.
Right.
Like, those are bad ideas. Broncos you can stack. Scary Hours to the team 3. This is a funny team because I really like his odd picks and I hate his even picks. So it's just funny. Bijan, obviously great. Then you get Higgins at 303. It's good value there. Ibuka, I'm a big fan of him. Fifth round, even fifth round's fine. I love Charbonnet. I mentioned him. I wanted him. Krosky Merritt. Talked about him before. We like him. Keenan Allen, not so much. But then Justin Herbert's a good backup. And then I guess I flip Ollie Gordon to 11. That makes more sense. The even picks though, Trey McBride before Bowers is pretty questionable. Garrett Wilson, I don't like with Justin Fields. I think that could be a disaster situation passing wise. Jalen Warren a little early at 6'10. Myers, I'd rather have Thornton, even though you took Thornton. Just Myers is like a great real life player. Fantasy, not so much. Kelsey feels like a waste that his career is pretty much done. So it's funny that like the odd picks I loved and the even picks I did not like. What are your thoughts on this team?
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of it. The only one I that kind of I scares me is Jalen Warren at running back two. And while I agree with you, I like Charbonnet. I think you're gonna you may have to be a little patient for that one to pay off, and Walker gets banged up or that kind of thing. But before he does, he could get featured. But I like the upside with the Ollie Gordon pick. Um, I think that's a nice one, and same thing with Krosky Merritt. So I think there's in a Igbuka. I think that's a really gonna turn out to be a really good pick as well for a fifth rounder.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you about him, but yeah, I like that as well. Yeah, it's such a shame that like you can't take him eighth round anymore like you could before back in July. I miss
Right.
those. I miss those days. I did not do enough drafts back then, even though I did a lot. I've done like 175 drafts, Charlie. A little crazy here. Sea Dog says, does Bucky Irving sixth overall? Yes, yes. Bucky Irving sixth overall. Yeah. No, we love Bucky Irving here. He was not going to make it back to the moon. But all right, kid no name, team 5. He went triple running back to start. So Henry, I think Henry a little early at 105. I think I would have gone with like a receiver there, or I would have preferred Irving or Achane or Chase Brown over Henry. Just like Henry's 31, Jacobs I love. Walker I have concerns with the injuries. Hill I've talked about Hill a lot. I don't like him. I love Devontae Smith with AJ Brown dealing with the hamstring injury, so Smith could have some big games to start the year. Addison, when he returns, he's your fourth receiver here, so you don't need him to start the year, but like it's only 3 weeks, so it should be fine. Pickens, I talked about him, good value. It's in the 6th round. Mooney, we don't know what his status is. Like he may miss a lot of time, so just be careful drafting him that early. Also, Mixon, I feel like, I remember you saying that he seemed like good value in the 8th round. Mixon feels like a falling knife to me. It's like a stock that keeps dropping. You're like, oh, I got it. This is a great value, but then it keeps on dropping. I don't know with his like history of foot injuries and like what he's going through right now. I feel like that this could be just a lost season for him. So it really scares me. Plus, he's an older player too. Interesting picks here with Rodriguez. He could be the starter, I guess, over Krosky Merritt. Wright could be the starter if Achane goes down. Pretty good value in the 11th round. So some stuff I liked here, some stuff I didn't. What are your thoughts on Kid No Name's team?
Yeah, I mean, Mixon scares me because, it looks like he's could be on the non-football injury list, and that's just kind of scary to start the year that way. And will he be healthy and all that? So, but obviously, I was too low on him last year, and he paid off into having a good season. So. Who knows? Maybe he just misses a month and then he comes back and you end up getting a really good value. So, tough to say. Teams like a year ago we saw with McCaffrey, they weren't clear about what was really going on. So it's hard to say. Just risky pick. But I think just the strength of this team definitely is running back with Henry and Jacobs and Walker. In the first three picks, I think the receivers make me a little bit concerned because Hill is, that situation's kind of clear. Devontae Smith is a number two, Pickens is a number two, so that makes me a little concerned for you receiver. But it may be once Mooney kind of gets Cohen and few down the line, he ends up being a good starting option.
Yeah, we only have a couple more teams to talk about. To the moon. So another team that started triple running back. I love this trio: Irving, Williams, Henderson. That could be fantastic. And then he backed up with Burrow in round 4. Ridley, I like around 5. Warren, I'm a fan of around 6. So amazing start with these first 6 picks. I think the one criticism I would have is instead of Caleb Johnson, because you already have 3 running backs, and you only have 1 receiver. So instead of Caleb Johnson, I would have gone with Rice or maybe another receiver, but like specifically Rashi Rice, and then backed it up with other receivers here, like you did. I'm not a huge fan of like Kyle Williams, for example. Coleman, I have some concerns of, and then Bash, I feel like is kind of a wasted pick there. But I love the start. And then a couple picks late here didn't like, but I like some of the other late picks too. So, what are your thoughts on the Moon's team? To the Moon.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm similar to you. I really like the strength at running back there with Irving Williams and Henderson. I think Judy was a really good pick in the eighth round. Uh, and Warren out of the gate here with the quarterbacks that have been named as the starters. I think they'll provide value for those guys. So, and Burrow obviously is going to be a big time producer as long as he's healthy. Yeah, the only one I'm not crazy about is just Caleb Johnson, just because it's a bit of a crapshoot with a rookie and that line and situation there in Pittsburgh. But otherwise, I really like this guy's starting lineup.
Okay, the last team we talk about is Troy McClure, CD Lamb. So he went opposite here, 3 receivers early. So like kind of almost 0 running back, but not quite because it's round 5 is his first running back. So CD Lamb, AJ Brown, McLaurin. It's risky, but it could really pay off. I say risky is AJ Brown's dealing with
Hmm.
hamstring issue right now, and McLaurin is holding out. So like there's a chance McLaurin is Le'Veon Bell again, like he doesn't play. And then AJ Brown, what if the hamstring lingers? There's question marks here. Lamar Jackson, obviously going to pay off for him unless he gets hurt. And then you have running backs, Pacheco, Swift, Bigsby. I think a good trio considering that he waited until round 5 to take these running backs. Bigsby looks like the starter in Jacksonville. At least it's going to be 50-50 split, but like Bigsby started over ATN in the last preseason game. I like Andrews and Loveland too. I don't think I don't know if I'd draft 2 tight ends this close to each other, but Loveland is really good value. Higgins, I like. Davis, loved his potential. Algier as well. This looks like a really good team, and not surprised because we kept saying that Troy was sniping us every time. So, what are your thoughts on Troy's team?
Yeah, I think it's a really good team. The I'm not. Yeah, that I think that the the starting 2 running backs, Pacheco and Swift, are really good values to me, considering you waited to get running back till 5th round. So I think that's really obviously you'll get good rush running numbers from Lamar Jackson as well. So really strong team overall. I'm not a big fan of Tank Bigsby, really any of the Jags running backs. But I just don't trust their offensive line to block well enough. I just feel they're kind of weak up front. I mean, one thing from a scheme perspective, I like ETN a little bit more for Liam Cohen than Bigsby, just because of with the coming from Tampa Bay and then what he did at Kentucky and with the Rams. I think ETN's a bit more in line with the kind of backs that thrive in that scheme. But he was such a disappointment last year. He burned me on one of my teams, so it's hard to endorse taking him. But yeah, the Jags running backs are just a complete crapshoot. But I love the strength at receiver there, and I think, you could easily end up benching Bigsby and having a kind of hidden gem there and Algier or Davis potentially.
Yeah, for sure. The other teams we talked about Trump S before, and Erod, Brett, and Yo-Ye were on auto draft for at least half of their drafts. Brett obviously was on auto draft, but took 7 quarterbacks in a row. Actually, I think at the end, what happened was he needed a flex and a tight end, and so I think the computer took over for him and drafted those. Because well, okay, maybe he had flex, but he didn't have a third running back, and he needed a tight end. So I think that's what happened at the end. But that's my guess. But yeah, that's about it. Great drafting to you guys as always. Always have a blast here. It feels like I learn something new all the time, just because you never know how ever anyone else is going to draft, and you guys are top notch as far as mock drafters are concerned. But we'll be back tomorrow doing another mock draft. I believe Kenny will be on unless he tells me otherwise. But yeah, Charlie, any thoughts on the way out?
No, I mean we're cranking away. Definitely read up on Walt's fantasy stuff. Get you ready for your drafts if you haven't had them. I know he's helped me a lot over the years, and sniping him has helped make my teams a lot better. So definitely keep up with his waiver reports because he does an awesome job on that. And I got tons of draft stuff coming up here, get you all ready for players to watch as with college football starting up, so you know who to watch week one here. Lots of good matchups early in the season, so check that out with preseason scouting reports and mocks and position rankings and all that. I got the NFL's their their list that the teams share amongst each other, their watch list. So I was able to get that this year, so that's reflected in our position rankings. So I think we're the only site on the internet that has that reflection in the draft rankings. So definitely read up there, and you get ahead of really everyone outside of the NFL teams themselves on what draft prospects are worth watching right out of the gate.
Real quick, I knew a guy, I won't say from where, but he told me, he's like, oh, I have this. See, this is back in 2015, so 10 years ago. So he's like, yeah, I have this. Walt, do you want it? I'm like, yeah, sure, thanks. Please send it to me. And so he emails me. He's like, hey, I can send it to you. Just if you want to PayPal me $2,000. I'm like, what? I was under the impression you're going to send that to me for free. So glad that Charlie is able to get that, and I didn't have to pay $2,000 for it. Not that I did, but
Yeah, most years we've gotten it from my contacts. So I'm trying to think of the last year I didn't get it. It
mhm.
may have been around then. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I've gotten it every year now for a while. But you can see it in our hot presses where I talk about how Caleb Downs and Keldrick Falk, graded out the highest of guys going into the season, and it's very rough. Like I say in those hot presses, like the year 2019, that watch list that we got, a fall 2018, did not have Kyler Murray on it, and it did not have Quinn and Williams on it, and they ended up being the first and third pick in the draft that next year. So it's just a rough outline for the scouts who are coming off their summer breaks to know who to watch when they go to a school and training camp and things like that. And then, of course, the cream of the crop rises and a lot changes. But at least we give you guys a heads up on kind of how that's looking in our position rankings.
Well, the games are about to start, so it should be a lot of fun to see how
Exactly.
things change and go down. Last comment: my dynasty team's absurd. He has Igbuka, Pearsall, Henderson, Hunter. That is awesome for a dynasty team. Congratulations. He says like my biggest issue is who to bench. Yeah, that could be rough. That's why I like best ball. You don't have to worry about that. So yeah, once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, commenting. Really appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks especially to Armac for the $100 super chat. I was thinking about this. I think this is the first time we got 100, if I'm not mistaken. I think like the next best one's probably like $70. So thank you so much, Armac. You're the best here. Like you slew John Sanders, who helped so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for everyone for joining us. So like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit walterfootball.com for my fantasy content, Charlie's draft content, picks against the spread will be coming in 2 weeks, I believe. Actually, yeah, 2 weeks. It's kind of crazy. The season's about to start. It's 16 days from now, so should be a lot of fun. But yeah, like I said, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you then.